Okay, I'm going to show how to make the do-it-yourself CO2 system for a planted aquarium. So just to start, the few things you're going to need are, I think this is a gallon jug. I use these Oceans, is it Ocean Spray? Yeah, it's like a cranberry juice. Just the shape of them is a little stronger than like a 2-liter soda bottle or something. I'm going to need some active dry yeast, some Knox plain gelatin, 2 cups of sugar, and a measuring cup. This is a 4 cup. You can get away with a 2 cup, and I'll show you in a second. I went ahead and I've used a magic marker and marked down a few inches from the top here. So then what you want to do is fill that up with water, just regular tap water, to that magic marker line a few inches from the top, and I'll pick up from there. Okay, so I filled this up to that line. The reason you want to keep this gap here is because once you get the yeast in here that eats the sugar, and that's how you make the CO2, by the way, the yeast actually eats the sugar, and its byproduct is CO2. That's their waste. And the reason we're using the gelatin in there is it slows down the yeast from getting to the sugar. If you just put the yeast in a bottle of sugar water, it'll go through it so fast and create a lot of CO2 for a quick burst, but you want this to last a while. These can actually last for a couple weeks with the gelatin. So I filled this to this line. Now what I want to do is I want to discard about a cup of that. So go ahead and take my measuring cup here. Take about 1 cup out of there. And that 1 cup, later we're going to use that 1 cup for the yeast instead of actually wasting it. I'll just go ahead and put it in the dog bowl. Alright, so we've got our 1 cup out of there, just basically for space. It'll be for the CO2 later. That'll be tomorrow. So then I take about 2 more cups. I set that off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 packs of this Knox gelatin in this cold water. So we'll do this, do the 4 of them. And the remaining water that's in the jug, we can go ahead and start heating that up. Put that on the stove. Go ahead and put it on high. Okay, so while that's heating up, I'll go ahead and open these. I'm going to put this gelatin right in there. So, hold on. Okay, so we're going to take the gelatin and we're going to just kind of sprinkle it into this cold water. Don't try not to make like a huge pile on the surface here. Spread it around and let that soak up. Go ahead and put some more in here. We're doing the 4 packs. It depends on temperature, how fast this is going to actually burn off the CO2. So you may find that you might need 5 packs depending on, you know, the environment, temperature of your house, stuff like that. I think 4 packs usually works pretty good for me. So we're just going to let this sit, and the gelatin's just going to absorb that water. If we just try to add this to the boiling water, you wind up with major clumps and you wind up wasting quite a bit of it, and it doesn't work well. So you let this soak in the cold water. Throw this out. Okay, while that's soaking, our water's heating up here. You can go and add your 2 cups of sugar. And we're going to bring this to. Okay, so the water's coming to a boil here. Sugar's completely dissolved. And here is the gelatin inside the cold water. You can see it's all kind of absorbed. Like I said before, if you just try to put the gelatin packs in the hot water, they clump up. makes it very difficult to work with. So, let's put the gelatin in there. Put this on the sink. Alright, so now we just want to bring this back to a boil, or just about a boil. You got to be careful. If you let this boil with the gelatin, it will actually foam up and make a mess. So right when it comes to a boil, turn it off. And I will pick back up when it gets heated back up. Alright, this is heated back up. The gelatin's in there, sugar's dissolved. You can see it's kind of getting foamy. I said you would not want to bring this to a complete boil with the gelatin. And once again, I'll go over this real quick while it's heating up. So you need the 4 to 5 packs of Knox gelatin. You need some active dry yeast, 2 cups of sugar, the gallon jug. I like the ocean spray bottles. I am kind of doing this backwards too. I have to show how to do the cap and the hose lines and all that stuff, the bubble counter, and how to put it into the tank. That's already set up in my tank. So I'm going to make this, and then when this is ready to go in the tank, I'll basically go through and show you how I did that. Alright, this is heated back up pretty much. Once again, the 4 to 5 packs of this, depending on the temperature. Play with it and see what happens. You want it to slow down the yeast from getting to the sugar, but you don't want to stop it. So like I'm saying, you don't want a big solid piece of finger jello in there. And you don't want it to be liquid either, just kind of a soft gel. Alright, so we're going to turn this off. Now this will need to get put into that jug, but if you put it in there now, it'll melt the jug, so you need to let this cool down for a little bit. It cool down for about 30 minutes. You can put it in the jug and then just put it in the refrigerator overnight. And when that's done and set up, I'll pick up from there. All right. Okay, back with the do-it-yourself CO2. This, I had the gelatin and sugar sitting in the fridge overnight. It's actually been just about 24 hours, so it's nice and set. Got our cup of warm water here, and we're just going to put like a half a teaspoon, maybe quarter teaspoon of sugar, white sugar. Dissolve that in there, and then we're going to put a half a teaspoon of the active yeast in here. Once you open this, you can actually put it in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this half a teaspoon in here and let it sit for about a half an hour to an hour and let it activate, and I will pick it up after that. Okay, the yeast has been sitting here for about, I don't know, it's probably only been about 10 minutes, but it's already kind of foaming, so we know it's working. In this cup, I had taken that extra cup out of there and put it in the dog dish, and that's what this was for. That made room for this cup of warm sugar water here and the yeast. So that's proofed, and this has actually been brought pretty close to room temperature. It's been sitting out for a couple hours. So just pour the yeast in there. And it's pretty much right at the line we wanted it to be. So this is going to do its thing. I will actually take the thing apart tomorrow, the whole system, and bring it out and tape it, show you how it's all set up. This will take a couple hours before it actually starts producing the CO2, but I'll go into that when I actually pull the system out and show you how it all works. But as of now, the sugar and the gelatin's all ready to go. Alright? Okay, real quick, I just went and swapped them out. I put the new one in. This is the one that's used up. Actually, when it's going, you'll be able to see like the white, the gelatin, and as the yeast works down, you'll see it changing the color as it breaks down into the gelatin, getting to the sugar. But you'd actually want to change it out when it's to about this point. This is completely done. I mean, it's been well over a month since I changed it out, maybe a couple months. It wasn't producing any CO2, but right now, I mean, I wish you could smell this. It smells like wine. I think you could probably sell this for quite a bit of money in jail, or probably in Alaska too. It's straight up wine. All right, I'll show you tomorrow the whole system.